Yes, y'all. Welcome into another special edition of the Dumb Marks Podcast After Dark, breaking down Slammiversary, 20 years of NWA, TNA, Impact Wrestling. Gentlemen, how we feeling on this Impact Wrestling Thursday?
Feeling good. I don't know about Jason up there, but
Good.
Yeah, the skinny bearded one up there, he got to be up early for work. So by all means, if you bow out early, we will not hold it against you. So I know that 4 a.m. wake up call comes real quick. Surprised you ain't sleeping now. So all right. So how's everybody doing? Everybody good tonight?
doing good.
Interesting week in pro wrestling. I'm sure you guys will get into that on Saturday's show. But tonight it's all about TNA Impact in 20 years. 20 years.
Buzzing.
The company nobody thought would last this long.
Yeah.
You want to talk about something that never dies? I mean, this thing got more lives than a cat.
Yeah.
From the every single regime,
Different
nationals,
ownerships.
ownerships, weekly pay-per-views to TV, to primetime TV, to going head to head with WWE, to no TV, and now back on, somewhat of a viewing schedule. Still wish there was a place where we could get more eyes on Impact Wrestling, because they have had a really good product over the last couple years. Pandemic regardless, they've been showing up, and doing their thing. So, with that being said, 20 years looking back on it, what jumps out to you, good or bad, when you think of TNA Impact Wrestling?
Two things that jump out to me that I think that TNA really left their mark on the wrestling industry on. One is the X Division, because that's what made them, like, I would say, a household name. Wrestling fans, talked, hey, are you watching TNA? You got to see these guys. You got to see what the X Division's doing. And then a little bit later on, they were the first ones here in the U.S. that really promoted the women's division. What led to the women's evolution in WWE, was definitely started by TNA with the Knockouts division.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They were definitely at the forefront. They had the all women's pay per view before the all women's pay per view. That we saw WWE put on. But yeah, I agree. For me, the two things that stand out the most, or what has been the most consistent over the 20 years, has been the X Division and the Knockouts. Period, hands down. Still have one of the strongest women's rosters out there. It may be smaller than other companies, but the talent is definitely there. They do a great job of continuing to fill spots as people leave and move on to other pastures, other promotions. But yeah, there's, and we'll see it, coming this weekend whenever we get into breaking down the card. Another first for the women, when you're talking about the first ever Queen of the Mountain match. But yeah, definitely X Division, women's division, Knockouts. I think, and this, I listened to Jeff Jarrett on Stone Cold's podcast on Broken Skull, and he touched on TNA a little bit throughout the talk. And if you listen to Jeff's podcast with Conrad, they break down a bunch of stuff with TNA. But I think what sticks out to me, what he said the most, and thinking back about it after he said it was an alternative, right? There was a void in the marketplace. His vision for TNA was to be an alternative. He said it was never to be number two. It was never to challenge WWE on a head-to-head basis. It was an alternative, and it was an alternative that for a long time people gravitated to and watched consistently. For me, I know there was a period there where I watched only TNA. I didn't watch WWE because TNA was putting on that good of a product.
I agree.
So yeah, the alternative factor to me was what really stuck out. And looking back on it, it made the most sense that was the word that he used to describe it.
Same thing with me. There was many times where I was watching Impact more consistent than WWE for some times. When they were just strictly pay-per-view only the first 2 years, I didn't watch a lot of it. I bought the first show. I may have bought like one or two, in the first year, and then I know I bought like the 1 year anniversary. But it was just a handful. It was only $10, so 2 hours of pro wrestling for $10, it wasn't bad. It was kind of like the old in your house ECW style days of pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't even think twice about dropping $10. You know what I mean? Like the ECW pay-per-views, you were looking at what, $20, I think, at the most. Yeah. And that was it was awesome. You know what I mean?
And then with them, they were only once a quarter, so you didn't mind putting out the $20 every couple months.
Yeah, and I feel like, if you look at it in the macro instead of the micro, right? Everybody likes to focus on the micro part of TNA being the punching bag of pro wrestling, right? For that period of time there, they were, just bringing in every WWE star with a name on it, putting them straight to the top, the Dixie Carter stuff. But macro wise, when you look at it, I mean, the amount of stars that have come through TNA, the game changers that they've had with match creativity wise and everything, regardless of the what was the stupid battle royal match that they came up with?
The reverse battle royal.
The reverse battle royal, yeah.
They'll be doing that on Slammiversary too.
Yeah. Which I thought was great because it's hey, if you can't make fun of yourself, then who can, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that they recognize that it, hey, let's have some fun with this and do it, because it's been a major sticking point and focal point to their company when people make fun of it and point stuff out. But
they've created some good stuff. Not everything is always a home run, and that was definitely one of their questionable ones.
Right. And I know I touched on this last week with Jay on the show, but last week stumbled across a video of every single title change in TNA Impact history. And it was almost 20 minutes. It was almost 20 minutes long.
That came across my timeline too.
Yeah, and I refuse to sit there for 18 minutes and 47 seconds or whatever it was to watch every single title change. But going through, the first couple minutes of it, early on, it was a lot of Jeff Jarrett. It was a lot of AJ Styles. You had Ronda Truth Killings in there. Rhino was an early champ. And people were like, oh, well, Jeff just put it on himself because he was the owner. He was the booker. He did the Dusty Rhodes. He made himself the star. But if you go back and really look at it, Jeff was the name. He was the guy as far as value, legitimate value to a company. And him being the title holder to make other stars is no different than AEW using Jericho to be their first title holder.
Yeah,
agreed.
So
that's where I look back on with Jeff too. It's not that I think that he was just the owner that just put the title on himself. I think he was a good heel and helped get some talent over. So he did hold the title a couple times, but I think that there was many talent that he helped put over in his title reigns.
Yeah, and I mean, when you establish a guy like AJ Styles early on, and AJ's knock on him back then was he can't talk, right? Can't cut a promo. Unbelievable worker in the ring, but can't talk.
Yeah.
Some people may argue today it's still the same that AJ can't talk, but that we're not here to discuss that. But building a guy right out the gates and saying, okay, this is gonna be a workhorse for us. This is gonna be the guy. But nobody expected AJ to ever leave TNA.
No.
And to still be doing it.
Yeah. To still be doing it, right? So, you may look back now, and some people wouldn't even look at AJ as being a TNA guy. They would just classify him as a WWE guy. He's going on there 6 years now.
Yeah. I think Conrad and Jeff just talked about AJ recently. If I read the right report, that they said that I guess AJ was such a company guy that when his contract expired with New Japan, he was in talks to return back to TNA before WWE came in and gave him a shot. And I mean, I think we'd still be talking about AJ Styles, but I think he's even more of a household name today than if he would have went back to TNA instead.
Right. Yeah, I just, I feel that I think, and Jeff touched on it again with Stone Cold with his personal issues and demons and everything else, and where he was at during certain runs with TNA, and when he lost control of the company and everything else. And I think if he would have been able to stick as majority owner and the majority share of the decision making process, we may not get that punching bag era of TNA.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, if you look at it, there wasn't anything you could knock them for. It was whenever you had the Dixie step in and them take over and bring in Bischoff and Hogan and go to Monday night head to head with Raw and everything else. Like, as Jeff said, it was never the intention. So be the alternative, know your market, know your niche in the industry, and stick to that and do that well. And that's what they did up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, after that, it's kind of when it went downhill. But the rise of Impact Wrestling, once Scott D'Amore and Don Callis took over, even though Don's not there no more, but that's what really got them back on the right track to where they're at today. That 4 years ago now? Yeah, 2019. So three years ago, right? 2018. They were really the ones that got the train back on the tracks and moving in the right direction to where it's at now, where they have stars. They're putting on hella matches, solid pay-per-views, and there's still an alternative to what's being presented mainstream wrestling wise on a weekly basis.
Yeah, for me, I consider when Hogan and Bischoff came in, that's to me is the start of Impact Wrestling. Because that's when they started getting rid of the TNA branding, and they didn't refer to it as TNA Impact; they just referred to the show as Impact Wrestling. And so that to me is kind of, there's two versions. There's the TNA era with Jeff, and then there's from Hogan on as Impact. And I agree with you. I think if Jarrett would have been able to stay in control, I enjoyed the TNA era with Jarrett in control more than I've enjoyed anything else in Impact history. And I think that if he could have at least been there, and like you said, there's a whole lot of things that we can talk about with why he's not in control or anything like that. But I think that the company would have been better off in the long run.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll break down the card, give our predictions match for match. I know the show is getting ready to wrap up here soon for this week's episode, the final go home show before the pay-per-view itself. And then after we do that, give our matches, kind of run through and just give your favorite or best of. We'll go X division, knockouts, regular, heavyweight, whatever other division you want to classify the other wrestlers that aren't labeled specifically. And then maybe if you want to throw out there a Mount Rushmore of TNA Impact over the years, who you would put on that. So, all right, with that being said, let's get into this card, which I'm super excited for. This was a show 20 years in the making. I was going to watch it regardless, but as the weeks have gone by and as they've built up to this show itself, and laid out kind of the matches and who's going to be wrestling who and feud wise, it's slowly but surely getting my interest more and more, to the point where I'm going to sit down Sunday and absolutely tune in for it.
I'll be honest, I'm not going to put the pre-show matches in consideration for it, but the actual pay-per-view matches itself, there's really only one match that I'm not interested in. So to have 6 out of the 7 matches, I at least check out or at least be interested enough to see what goes on. I think that's
Right.
pretty good. So we'll start off with the pre-show stuff. So this one, I didn't see any participants for it yet. So they're doing the reverse battle royal. I don't know, nothing really to predict there, unfortunately. But
Yeah, no, there's not. Again, like I said earlier in the show in the open, if you can't make fun of yourself, who can? So the fact that they're doing this 20 years later, like, kudos to them for making lemons in the lemonade and having something that people can actually look back on and enjoy for it being the silliness that it is, like that sports entertainment thing of pro wrestling. And just nostalgia. Watch something that's silly and goofy, get yourself kind of put into a good mood before the show actually gets going.
You expect any surprises?
yes.
I would. I mean, it's
Okay.
any battle royal. Like,
It could
it's
even
not a
True,
Torino
any
battle
battle
royal,
royal.
yeah.
I think for this style match, I think I'm expecting more like TNA surprises more than I'm expecting like debuts type stuff. So
Yeah, the callbacks to me. This is. I think you'll have a couple like how you have with whenever MLW does the battle riot.
yeah,
And you get certain people that come out that you like haven't even thought about in years. I think like we'll get like a Shark Boy appearance.
Yeah, give me Shark Boy, give me Curry Man.
Yeah,
Give me a best.
I don't think you're going to see Abyss, but
yeah, you won't see
True,
it. But I think you'll get those type of characters and people to come out for the verse battle royal. Maybe a Disco Inferno appearance, and maybe the creator, Simon Diamond himself, will come out and participate in this year's reverse battle royal.
I forget. There's only 2 matches really in TNA that I was just like, that didn't work the way they wanted to. It was this one, and I forget what they called it, but it was like a big round red cage. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Like it had the roof on it and everything. And
Lethal Lockdown.
No, it wasn't Lethal Lockdown. Because I think they did like some X Division matches in it, but it's like,
yeah.
To me, that was another one. Like you just didn't see a whole lot of that because I just don't think it worked. But
kind of like the Punjabi prison match where you couldn't see shit inside the ring because of all the damn bamboo.
All right, we'll move to the next pre-show match. We got the Digital Media Championship champion Rich Swann versus Brian Myers.
Yeah, this came about with Rich Swann beating Matt Cardona prior to Matt tearing his bicep, and Matt not giving the title to Rich. He left with the belt itself, and then claimed Brian Myers as the Digital Media Champion. So, again, another good match just to get the crowd, juices flowing, get ready for the pay-per-view. I don't mind this type of match being on a pre-show. It's in the perfect spot for it. You can put it in line with the 24/7 title, although I think this title has more meaning than 24/7 title, even though it's only been around for 6 months. So yeah, I'll go with Brian Myers here to keep it and carry on while Cardona's out nursing his bicep injury.
I'll give it to Swan, and then have them and Myers go, hit for tap for a while, then eventually take it off him.
I'm going to go with Myers as well. I kind of think while Cardona's out, he's kind of like the best heel to kind of get some people to go after him for it. Enjoy that chase. So,
all right, main card.
That's it for the pre-show. So we'll go to the main card. This match also isn't completely booked. We got Impact Originals versus Honor No More.
Yeah, Honor No More. They're the main bad heel stable in the company right now. Really have hit their stride, especially since Eddie Edwards turned and joined them. I've enjoyed what they do. I enjoy the group themselves. I am curious, and because we're doing this, and have following along with the show, trying to see who else they announced to round out the Impact Originals. I was trying to think of names that I would put in with this. Christopher Daniels would be one that I would add in. Kazarian, Sabin, Shelley, Daniels, and maybe a James Storm. I don't, to come back. It seems like a good fit for him, given the history for him with the company. So I would go with those two. Not sure who joined in, but hopefully we'll know before the match itself who we got. But listen, Slammiversary 20 years. I'm taking the Impact Originals.
Same. I'm going with the Originals.
I can't argue with the logic, so I'm going with Impact Originals. So
any other Impact Originals besides Daniels and Storm that I threw out there that you guys would like to see in this match?
Daniels was the first one that came to mind for me.
Was Lethal an original?
No.
I wouldn't consider him to be original. Like, I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but Amani Brown to come in and give a quick little pounce. Wouldn't mind seeing that.
He's been out of the game for a long time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was just trying to go through from the those early TNA days that you would put in. If Jarrett didn't re-sign with WWE as the head of live events.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going through the Twitter feed for Impact, and they added one more person to this match, not both. So still one surprise entrant, but the one they added tonight was Nick Aldis. I wouldn't consider him an Impact original, but
no, but I don't mind. Like I'm okay with that fit.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, you got all this added. Give me Storm or give me Daniels to round out that group.
Yeah. I think Daniels is the right fit, but I wouldn't be upset with Storm.
All right, we all got Impact Originals 3-0 sweep here.
Yeah. Like I said, honor no more wins. All right, we'll get into the next match. We got a Monsters Ball between Sami Callihan and Moose.
Yeah, so Sammy's back. Went directly after Moose. Moose was the one that injured Sammy with the broken leg, put him out for a really long time. Wasn't even sure if he was going to be able to come back. He was on Busted Open a couple times talking about it, his injury and everything that he's gone through rehab-wise and surgery-wise and everything else. Very nasty, gruesome injury. And leave it to Sammy to come back and do a Monsters Ball match, which to me fits perfectly as far as when you think of TNA, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're doing 20 years, you got to have a Monsters Ball match at some point on this card. It wouldn't be right if you didn't. So
they're giving you like the greatest hits here.
Yeah, you are, which is smart booking, right? Yeah. Like
a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, touch on the nostalgia, pay homage to the history of the company and, promote your current stars. So I don't mind the setup that they got going on with this. I'll go with Sammy to win this. I'm curious to see Moose in this type of match.
I'm going to go Sammy just to get the ball rolling back with him.
Yeah. If Sammy was back a little bit longer, I might give this one to Moose. But just because this is his first match back and he's getting that retribution, I think I got to give that little nudge to Sammy. But I don't know. You know me. I'm not a big Moose fan, but I think this might actually fit in his wheelhouse. I think, for that more aggressive side that he's had with his character the past year or so, this could turn out to be a good thing for him.
Yeah. It's the first time he's put in this type of predicament, so I want to see how he reacts. And because Sammy's going to go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's going to do what Sammy does, whether you like Callihan or not. Sammy's one of those guys where it's like give or take with me. There's times where like I'm all behind Sammy, and then there's other times I'm just like, I don't get it. Like why? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the dude goes out and busts his ass every single match he's in, and he's not going to shortchange you as far as giving you a performance. So
I've never questioned Sammy's heart for the business, but it's just has he always been something that I want to watch now?
I seen him spit one time, and I was like, I'm done with this guy.
that's what did it for you.
It was live. I'm
Was
like,
that in person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. All right. From here on out, we're talking title matches. So the first title match we'll discuss is the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship. We got the Influence with the champions Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood versus Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie.
So interesting matchup here. I really like the Influence a lot. Madison Rayne has always been a favorite of mine. I think she's been a great character pretty much her entire run in TNA and Impact. Tennille, I think my issue with Tennille is not that I question her desire or want to be in the business. I think with Tennille, it's all you look at her and you go, this may sound harsh, but it's like the wasted talent. Like it was the guy growing up that you knew he was going to the league, right? Yeah. You knew it, and then he just did dumb stuff or didn't work as hard as the next guy for whatever reason, right? Like I always feel like she should be in a level above of where she's at. Like to me, Tennille in ring wise and everything else, like she should be in the Charlottes. She should be in the Sashas. Like she has that potential to be in that upper echelon of female wrestlers, regardless of promotion. But for whatever reason, it's just kind of like she's okay doing what she's doing and her Instagram stuff, traveling and doing, you know what I mean? So like super happy to see Taya back in Impact.
Yeah.
One of the longest reigning knockout champions of all time. Her and Rosemary, they've tagged before, so it's not like it's a completely odd pairing being thrown together just for the sake of having a match.
Taya still is the longest reigning, right?
I thought Deonna surpassed her.
I'm going to look that up right now because I think Deonna may have just missed it.
Yeah, double check that. I know they're 1-2. It's just regardless of who's 1 and who's 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go with the Influence in this match to retain and keep the belts. Jay, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Taya and Rosemary.
Chris.
So going with new champs there. Okay. Mm-hmm. To your comment, Steve, yeah, I like Tennille. I always liked her since NXT whenever I first saw her. She clicked with me early on. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, I just don't feel like she's had that. Not a lot of fans have clicked with her. And I don't know if that's necessarily why or if it's her. Like you said, maybe she's just happy doing what she does and does other stuff on the side. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Influence to retain. I think they're a good group and like to see them continue on. I did look it up. Deonna just missed. So Taya has the record at 377 days. Deonna's at 2 with 343.
So a month short.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
All right. You go. Look at us doing research live on air. Look at us. Fact checking ourselves.
Up next, we got the Impact World Tag Team Championship. Your boys, the champs, the Briscoes versus the Good Brothers. This is your tag team match right here.
Them boys versus the Good Brothers. Hey, I know you guys don't like the Good Brothers at all.
I like the Good Brothers more than I like the Briscoes.
Wow.
See, to me, this is right up my alley. I like both teams. I do. I've been a fan of the Good Brothers, since New Japan. The Briscoes, to me, they were always underrated. Period. As far as discussion of best tag teams in pro wrestling. They went out and showed out and did their thing with FTR and what still for me is match of the year so far this year, 2022. And I like the fact that they landed in Impact. You know, people wanted them to go to AEW. Obviously, Warner Media higher ups and everything else, based off of some comments made in the past, they, you know, kind of kiboshed that from happening. But yeah, Impact is a great spot for them, and they can do big things there. They have the belts now. Let them run with it. Good feud, good match. I'll go with the Briscoes to retain.
Some in me is saying the Good Brothers, just because everybody's just holding multiple belts, but I want the Briscoes to win.
So I think if you go with the Good Brothers, then you got the potential for, you know, are we gonna have them show up on Forbidden Door with the Impact World Championships again? Like, who knows? Because
you never know.
Depending on this Bullet Club, Super Elite, Undisputed Elite, like, we don't know what's going to shake out with that. But
rumor is the Good Brothers contract expire at Slammiversary, so not sure if they re-signed. You know,
and they came in at Slammiversary. They debuted in 2020, so that makes sense that the deal's up at Slammiversary, 2-year deal. And yeah, I mean, if they decide to leave and move on, great. You know, they're back in New Japan doing a thing, and it is what it is there. But I think for now, you leave it on the Briscoes and let them run with it.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'll give it to the Briscoes to retain. So we'll head into the next match. We got Ultimate X. So this is gonna be a banger, I think. We got Champ Ace Austin, Kenny King, Mike Bailey, Trey Miguel, Jack Evans, and Alex Zane.
Yeah, so the big storyline, which just, you know, developed here recently coming into this match, you know, with Ace Austin joining the Bullet Club and turning on Alex Zane, who was then added to this X Division match. That's, you know, that's the story within the story of this match, right? I love Ace as champ. I love Trey Miguel as champ. You know, I wish his run would have been a little bit longer, but I understand making the title change when they did. Again, we say this every time we predict an Impact pay-per-view, right? The X Division is going to steal the show and is always going to be in contention for match of the night.
Yep.
Look at the names in this match.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be insane.
This
you
is
got Jack
Evans in here.
And a Jack Evans that is a fired up Jack Evans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he himself, when he got released and didn't re-sign with AEW, he himself came out and put a lot of the blame on himself. He's like, I got content, I got lazy, it was a guaranteed paycheck. Like,
and you don't get that often.
Yeah, but like, if you get like AAA Jack Evans, like in this match, the creativity and the moveset in here, the only thing this match is missing as far as creativity wise is Chris Bay. If you like, your mind would have been blown if you would have had him in here with all these other guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the hell Ace retains in this, looking at all these guys. Mike Bailey is super hot name in pro wrestling right now. Trey is Trey. Like I said, Jack's the wild card. Kenny King is often slept on, but you know, I think this
shouldn't be.
Come down to no, he shouldn't be. Right, he shouldn't be. But I think this is going to come down to some shenanigans with Zane and Austin. But I'll leave it on the champ. I don't think you have the newest member of Bullet Club drop a belt right away after he just joined, arguably one of the hottest things in pro wrestling right now. So I'll go with Ace to retain.
I always want to put money on Trey Miguel, but I'm gonna go Ace. I do want to see Trey Miguel and Jack Evans go at it though.
Oh my god, dude! You just imagine like this. Whenever I see names like this in this type of match, this is where my mind immediately goes like, oh, I need Ricochet in here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, put him in here, and it's like, holy hell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is this. I want to be surprised if this opens the card.
True. And a lot of times they do that just for set the pace for the night. And even, could you imagine Dante in this match?
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, like just that. See that there's the fantasy booking there that we should have done. Pick today's stars in a X Division Ultimate X match.
give me Ricochet, give me Dante Martin, give me Phoenix, add Chris Bay. Like this could turn into a 12-man X Division match. I would be perfectly fine sitting there watching it.
Yeah,
like, but no, I know people moan and groan and talk about just spot fest, right? Like, say what you want about Wednesday night's main event, last night with Jurassic Express and the Young Bucks, but
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too, and that's every single X Division match I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, I don't think I've watched a bad X Division match, and you could say it's nothing but a spot fest.
But if you give me that as like as a one off and not the whole show, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I enjoy that.
Yeah, lead off with it. Let them get their shit in. Do all the high risk, crazy maneuvers where my adrenaline is pumping and my heart rate's up, and I'm ready to go for the rest of the show.
And every one of them can walk through the curtain after that match and just be like, follow that.
Exactly. They do it. They got to do it every show. Every show they got to do it. So we all got Ace retaining.
Yeah, everything you guys said, I'm going with Ace too. All right. We're going to head into the innovative match of the night, the Queen of the Mountain for the Impact Knockouts World Championship. We got Tasha Steelz, the champ, versus Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, Jordynne Grace, and Mia Yim.
Another match, when it was announced, I was super excited for. I like the concept of the King of the Mountain match to begin with. It's different. It's innovative. You got to climb and put the belt on the hook, right?
Mm-hmm. We talked about the reverse battle royal. You got the reverse ladder match here.
But the King of the Mountain match was never looked upon as like the reverse battle royal. You know, it never had that, that stigma of being a poor knockoff sports entertainment match.
I think that they did such a great job with Jeff Jarrett with that, where they made him the King of the Mountain, and he kind of owned that you kind of were like, okay, it was something to look forward to the next year.
Right. It was almost like their version of like Regal yelling War Games. It was Jeff Jarrett, saying King of the Mountain, beat me if you can. You know what I mean? So yeah, this was, like I said, when this was announced, I had my money ready to go when they announced this for this card, regardless of what else they would have put on, because I watched the first ever Knockouts X Division match and thought it was done really well. I thought all the women absolutely tore it up and did their thing in there to make that match their own and not try to be like the men, but define it for themselves. And I feel like they'll do the same thing in this match. Mm-hmm. They'll make it their own and define it for themselves.
Now, is Mickey doing something?
She's going to be the special guest ref.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go last here with my pick. I'm going to see who you guys got before I give my take.
I don't see Steelz retaining, but I'm just not sure who they're putting it on. It's a toss-up between Yim or Green. Give me Green.
Chelsea's yet to win the belt.
Yeah.
Jason, just like you, I don't see Tasha Steelz retaining. I see a new champ walking out. Mm-hmm. Actually, for me, this, to me, should be the main event of the night. First time doing Queen of the Mountain. Got some talent in here. Mickey James guest ref. I think this could go on last and send everybody home happy. I want Chelsea Green to win, just for the reason of She hasn't had it yet. I think she deserves a title run. I think this would be the perfect time to set it up. Instead of just giving it to her at a Hard to Kill or something like that. I think giving it to her at Slammiversary would help that title run, get over. My only question is, what are they really doing with Deonna? If she's your name, but does Deonna need a title? She's had the title for what? Almost 2 years. We just had a few months of her not having a title. Does Deonna need a title, or is she just Deonna no matter what? So that's where I'm unsure right now. Are they just going to put the title back on Deonna just to put it on her? But I'd like to see Chelsea Green walk out with the championship.
Well, she was Knockouts champ with the Hot Mess, wasn't she? Didn't she have a title run as the Hot Mess?
Did she?
I thought so.
We're going to go back to the research.
Yeah, look that up. Stats and info. Look that up and see if we if Laurel Van Ness, the Hot Mess, had a title run. I want to say yes. I can be completely wrong, but I believe she did. But as Chelsea Green, she hasn't had a run. I've been a huge fan of her.
It was very brief though.
Hey, brief still counts.
He remembers brief title runs.
Yeah, it was only 65 days. So,
well, I mean, it wasn't a Kane 24-hour title either. You know what I mean? Like, that's a brief run. 65 days. You got 2 months out of it. I know we've had tag team champs retain, X Division champ retain,
knockouts tag
retain. Like, I feel at some point there got to be some title change on this pay-per-view, right? This match sets up as being the one that's most likely, although I really don't want to see Tasha lose the belt right now. I want her to get a nice long run. I feel like she's somebody that can elevate and rise up and handle the challenges carrying the division. I don't need an almost 2.5 year run like Deonna had, but give me something a little bit more with her. Where's Jordan Grace fit at for you guys? Like, she's been somebody. She had, but I mean, I would have thought by now she would have been back to the top.
Yeah, or being more of the number 2 to Deonna. That's where I would see her fit in.
To me, it's like I forget Deonna's run has been that long. Because wasn't she the champ before? Wasn't Grace the champ before Deonna? Or was it Tessa?
No, it was Deonna
beat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Deonna beat.
I'm just going to this up now because we keep going back to it.
Because I feel like she had it recently, but you just forget Deonna's reign has been that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan. I mean, I love Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
Deonna beat Jordan.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, it was. So, when Tessa, Taya, then Jordan.
Okay.
So, I mean, you got, 3 former champs in this match.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Tasha. My heart is saying pick the field, but because I'm such a fan of Tasha and I think she's somebody that will, with this run, develop into her own and make herself a bigger star. My heart says take the field, or my mind says take the field. My heart says keep it on the champ. So I'll go dissenting here. I'll say Tasha retains.
Okay. Do you see shenanigans or just Booker strong?
Mickey James, champ. Shenanigans.
There's the wild card.
No, Booker strong, but I think you come. So, like, when you look at it, like, Deonna, is she a face or a heel?
technically a heel.
Technically say heel, right? Chelsea's definitely a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Tasha, heel. It's not a face.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mia Yim is a face,
Mm-hmm.
just returning. And you got Jordan, who's a face. So what do we all say? It's better when the faces are chasing, right?
Yeah.
So to me, Jordan and Mia don't have the build going into this match to make it go, I want to see the face win.
Mm.
So I'll keep it on the heel champ.
Okay. All right. So anything else before we head into the main event? All right. So we got the Impact World Championship. The champion, Josh Alexander versus Eric Young.
Alexander.
Listen, I know you guys are going to poo-poo this match. And Chris, you said before we started breaking down this card that there's one match that you're not interested in, and I had a feeling this is probably the match.
No, actually, the first match I wasn't interested in was the Impact Originals versus Honor No More.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. This one I'm not all that interested in. I think. Go ahead. I'll get into my shit.
To me, we talk about paying homage to the company, right? And going back through the history in 20 years, Eric Young is the right guy to get the shot in the spot, given everything that's surrounding the pay-per-view from a historical standpoint. I think him and Josh will go in there and have a hell of a match. Josh, he's carried over his run from last year. Like, I haven't gotten off his train. He's, arguably top 10. If you want, you could argue top 5. The man has not had a bad match in a year plus. So I think they'll go out there. They'll deliver. They'll go strong. I really like your idea, Chris, of putting the Queen of the Mountain match on last. I don't think they'll do it, but if it was ever a time for Impact to do that, I would say yes. Go with it. But because, like I said, they don't have that baby face that everybody wants to see win, then I think that's why they won't put it on last.
Okay.
So to me, this is going to main event. This is going to go home. I got Josh winning. Let the man run with the ball, and there's no reason to take it off him anytime soon.
Jason, you want to add anything more to your pick?
No.
Sticking with the champ.
The Eric Young guy.
Part of the reason why I want to see.
Hold on, Chris. Before you go into your spill, you may answer this in your rant that you're about to go on, but who else would you have put in the main event against Josh for this particular pay-per-view? Given the fact that it is 20 years of Impact Wrestling, it's being celebrated as such.
I'm actually okay in a way with the pick, just for the nostalgia reason only. I think that, EY has had the fans backing for a long time. And, I might not be a fan, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of people that watch Impact on a consistent basis that don't like him. And I think there are plenty that like him and probably will be more invested in this match.
I think EY is one of those guys that's overlooked and underrated in the ring. Say what you will about the character and everything else, but bell to bell, I think he's been grossly underrated over the course of his career.
Yeah, I agree.
I've watched enough Eric Young matches to where I've just never been. I'm talking Team Canada days. Right. Whenever I first started watching EY, but from EY to him, being the baby face that was trying to get a contract, to his heel turn, which was a big deal whenever he turned heel finally and turned on TNA. For me, just nothing ever connected. Like, part of the reason why I want to see the Queen of the Mountain match is because I think in the main event is because who's going to win this match. I'm not saying they're not going to have a good match, because I don't think Josh Alexander can have a bad match. If I think Eric Young is very talented in the ring to an extent, and I think they'll be fine in this. But just you're the main. If you're the main event, you have to suspend disbelief on who's going to win the match, and I just can't go in with any of that. I think I know Josh is just going to walk out as champion, and I think there's more of that suspended disbelief in the Queen of the Mountain, that who's going to walk out of that, just because of the style match it is, that you could put that as the main event.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm a traditionalist that thinks the title goes on the main event anyway. So it's like I contradict myself on that.
No, but you laid out valid points for both sides of the argument as to why you could see either match going on last.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be a call. Impact. They've never had a women's main event on a pay-per-view, have they? Was Mickey and Deonna the main event when Mickey won?
Was that when Mickey won, or was that the Texas Death Match? Was that main event?
I think that was the main event.
I don't remember what pay-per-view that was, though.
So, I mean, they've done it at least once. You've laid out listen. If
on Hard to Kill, it was Mickey and Deonna in the Texas Death Match. That was the main event.
So that's the only women's main event that they've had in the history of TNA. So if we're talking paying homage to the company and looking back at the history, and you're doing Queen of the Mountain, which is synonymous with King of the Mountain for Jeff Jarrett, the founder, why not put it on last? So, all right. But we all got Alexander winning the main event. I don't think there's going to be any. I think if you pulled 100 people, like if we were playing Family Feud, it'd be 100-0 number one answer.
You'd probably get some EY fans in there that would just say just because, but.
All right, so 94-6.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the card. Hit us up on social media. Let us know who you got going in the Slammiversary. What match do you think will be match of the night?
I think we covered that with the Ultimate X.
Yeah,
that may be the best Ultimate X lineup that they've had. And that would be something to go through and look at the card and see. Because I know if you go way back,
I think there probably would be some better ones early on of our early days of Ultimate X, but
if you go back to some of them AJ Daniels, Amazing Red, like if you go into those days, you may find a better lineup. But that lineup is insane, man.
The only downside to some of those early days is they were still perfecting the match early on. And there was a lot of like the X would fall down or the championship would fall down, and so like there's a lot of that where they've kind of perfected that now, and but I'd say for Impact Wrestling, on TNA, this could be one of the better lineups they've had.
All right, so we all agree X Division match, Ultimate X will be match of the night. Going around the horn here, a couple quick hitters, just as far as your best or your favorites over the history of TNA. Best or favorite knockout for you going through the 20 years of the company?
I'm gonna say ODB. Sorry.
Okay.
I wouldn't say Gail Kim because she's the standard, but I always loved ODB.
Enjoyed Mickey James's run, enjoyed Tara Victoria's run, but if I'm thinking just strictly TNA people, I think someone that impressed me and evolved, I think, at least for me, evolved in the ring over time was Velvet Sky.
Yeah, I was. If you go knockouts and you're doing TNA Impact, you got to go Beautiful People.
Yeah,
right
in that, especially early on, who made the knockouts division more than them?
Gail, Awesome Kong was amazing, and her and Gail, that feud between them two is not just best of women's feuds. That you can put that up there in a best of feuds period across the board with what those two did and the story they told over their matchups. So
I'll tell you someone else that evolved over time too in the women's division. I think carved out a nice niche in Impact was Taryn Terrell. I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves in Impact. She had a nice run with the title. Had some amazing matches that I would have never expected from her.
Right. That's not a bad call. As like a sleeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Impact, I think Knockouts, I think beautiful people.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were the best or, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's just who I put with that.
Some of the highest rated segments of the company.
Sadly, I couldn't tell you who any of those people were.
Really?
I missed that all.
Let the pigeons loose.
They didn't stand out to me. How can you tell you who a beautiful person was?
You need to your homework is to go back and watch beautiful people clips.
Yeah.
And then you'll come back and go, oh yeah, that definitely beautiful people. So all right. Best of or favorite X division?
AJ Styles.
Do you put him synonymous? I mean, do you is that what you think of as the X division? Is AJ?
Early days. What helped get the X division over?
It was so different and was so innovative at the time, and the people that were in those matches, like, shit was just mind blowing that they were doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see. Man, it's tough. It's really tough for me to just pick one individual, so to speak. Lethal had his run. You had, Baby Pump, Pete Williams. Amazing Red was, that dude was innovative. The definition of innovation was Amazing Red and what he did.
The talent they had in that division from day one to 20 years in is just amazing in that X division. There was definitely some time where, much like WWE, where they don't put the talent in the Intercontinental Championship run. There was some time that Impact didn't put the focus on the X division, especially in that Impact Wrestling era in the beginning. But it's nice that they put the focus back.
They took the cruiserweights from WCW and they built upon that.
Yeah,
like it was the evolution of the cruiserweight division. If you look back at
doing the no weight limit and all that was the perfect thing for that at the time too. Was that
Joe had a run like dude.
Biss freaking had the title.
I don't know if I could just pinpoint down to just one specific X division wrestler that I would say this is the guy or this is the one. I can't give you one.
The best thing I think they did with the X division was when they did the option C. I thought that was something creative that hadn't been done before.
Who was the first one to cash that in? Sabin. Was he the first one to do it successfully and win the world title?
I thought it was Aries, but
I forgot all about Austin Aries. I think it might have been Aries because I don't know. It was either Aries or
Austin Aries was the first one.
That's stats and info. All right, favorite tag team.
Beer Money.
I got two. Two to me stand out above the rest as far as being synonymous with TNA, and they're both older.
Yeah.
You could argue for newer tag teams, but I got two for me: Beer Money, and then America's Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And the piece between both of those teams is James Storm.
Yeah. I'm going to give you both of those. I'm going to give you Triple X, especially in the early days. Elix Skipper walking off the top of the cage. Probably one of the most synonymous TNA moments.
That was going to be my moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
brought that up.
maybe the craziest spot in pro wrestling, besides Mick Foley getting thrown off a cage.
Yeah. I really liked that whole group of Triple X. Elix Skipper was an amazing talent. Another one that never got the credit he deserved in wrestling. I'd go those three.
No LAX?
I liked LAX. That's nothing wrong with them, and I think they are, definitely in there, but they're not in they wouldn't be in my top 5. I definitely enjoyed, especially the different incarnations of LAX too. I always enjoyed that.
All right. So, besides Elix Skipper walking across the cage, because I think we all would have said that as being our
absolutely
TNA moment, right?
That was going to be on Mount Rushmore.
I mean, besides that, it's that particular spot, that particular moment, that's really hard to top as far as what people remember the most. And what people forget is he walked across and did that, and then Daniels got up and did a freaking moonsault off the top of the cage onto the mat.
Yep.
So it was followed up by the best moonsault ever, with Christopher Daniels doing that from the top of the cage.
Between that and Lethal Flair, those are my two moments.
Lethal Flair was going to be my other. Lethal Flair, the woo off. I still go back and watch that to this day.
Oh yeah,
I'll stop anytime it's on my timeline.
It's tremendous. If you haven't seen that, please go YouTube it as soon as you get done watching this. It's 7-8 minutes of just pure gold.
Lethal was on, I think it was Chris Van Vliet, and he was talking to him about that, and he said that was a completely unscripted segment.
Yep.
And it just something
that's what made it so memorable.
Yeah.
If they would have went out there and they would have said, I'm going to say this, you say this, I say that, you say that, it wouldn't have came off the same way.
No.
Yeah, he said he went up to Flair and he goes, hey, we got a segment tonight. What do we want to do? And Flair just said,
see you
follow
out
me.
there, kid.
Yeah.
See you out there, kid.
Yeah.
So I got no problem with putting those two moments as your top two, and you can argue in order which one you want to put as one or two.
What have I watched more? The woo off. What has TNA showed me more, but is still impressive me every time, is the cage.
Yeah, no doubt. I think who was a bigger impact, no pun intended, when they debuted in TNA? Kurt Angle or Christian Cage?
Oh, Kurt Angle.
For me, Kurt.
I think Kurt was the game changer for Impact.
That him and Samoa Joe face to face, and then the headbutt.
The headbutt heard around the world.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, that run Kurt had, knowing everything that Kurt was doing to himself during that run, just makes it even more unbelievable, the fact that he did what he did, given everything else that was going on.
It's think about if TNA wouldn't have been there at that time. If TNA would have never existed and Kurt had to leave the WWE when he did, you could have missed Kurt in his prime. If he would have gone to New Japan. Yeah,
you would have missed the best bout machine.
If he would have had to gone to New Japan, think about how many great matches you would have missed because you couldn't have followed it the way you can now. Then,
right?
It's a good thing that TNA was there for Kurt to have the matches and the talent that surrounded him.
All right. Well, who do you have on your Mount Rushmore for TNA Impact Wrestling?
It's tough.
I mean, we would all agree AJ's on your Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah.
After that, there's
I was
an
going back
argument
and
for
forth
a lot
on
of people.
Do I want to go with the names to me at TNA, or do I want to go with like the originals at the same time, like original talent for them or semi-original talent? Because a lot of the talent that was in TNA was in Ring of Honor too. You know, because early days they were sharing talent, so it's like not all of them you can say are technically originals, but you know they were at least around there enough. So I kind of have like two, but whoever wants to start.
So would you say for the sake of this argument right here, right now, current day roster, we can exclude all of them, right?
What, current day only?
Like your current, like current day, last 2 to 3 year run of Impact, you can exclude them because it hasn't been around. It hasn't been around long enough to be on your Mount Rushmore, right? Like if we have this conversation 4 years from now, you may put Josh Alexander on your Mount Rushmore based off of what he's done over a 6-7 year span. Given the fact that him and Ethan Page as tag team champions and everything else, like there may be an argument made down the road for him. But I mean,
possibly
when you're talking about Rushmore, like it's
the people that made the company.
Yeah, right. So if you're going that aspect of it, I got AJ, I got Kurt, I got Jeff,
Jarrett.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to clarify for Hart because Hardy was in there.
No. Jarrett, Double J, and then
you've hit 3 of my 4 so far. So we'll see if you do 4 for 4.
My 4th one, I'm gonna take a little bit of a liberty here with my 4th one. Okay, and this isn't a cop out. This is legitimately.
So it's a cop out.
No, because after I say the name, it'll make sense as to why.
Okay.
Mike Tenay.
Thought you were gonna put Dixie up there.
I wouldn't have seen that coming.
Mike Tenay. You have to have a voice of the company. And Tenay is so underrated as an announcer in pro wrestling. Never gets the flowers he deserves. And his soundtrack with Don West and then with Taz, Tenay throughout all those years, to me, you have to put him up there. So that's why I said I take a little bit of a liberty because I'm not just giving you 4 wrestlers.
Yeah.
But I'll go with those. I'll go with those 4. I'll go AJ, I'll go Kurt, Jeff Jarrett, and then Mike Tenay for my Mount Rushmore.
I can't hate on that because Mike Tenay. Yeah, I agree. He doesn't get the justification that he deserves, and I think sometimes people shit on Don West a little too much too. You know, it's just like just because he tried to be a little corny in his commentary, but I think he played off because you got your seriousness and your straight guy from Mike Tenay. You know, he was the professor in WCW, and that's what he gave you in TNA. And you know, Don West was just the complete opposite of that. Brought the complete energy. You know, but I love the Mike Tenay Taz era. You know, I think they complement well each other.
Tenay and Taz were fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Like out of any change they made to the announce booth, that was the one I enjoyed the most. Next to Don
and Mike.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who I got. My Rushmore.
I was trying not to put a WWE guy on there, but guys, since you guys put Kurt on there, I'm gonna throw him back on. I'm gonna go AJ, Kurt, Gail, Kim, and Bear Money.
Okay.
Those are just who stood out to me.
Okay.
There's no argument there. Bear Money is arguably the best tag team ever. Gail Kim, arguably the best women's wrestler, knockout division. Another person who's criminally underrated and doesn't get talked about as far as best of when it comes to women's wrestling.
Yeah.
And was doing it at a time when women weren't having the matches that we see now on a consistent basis. Like you drop Gail Kim in today's women's environment,
fits in so much better than she did.
Game over. Game over. Like you put her out there, let her go 30 minutes with Sasha or Charlotte. Like it's
Gail was that technical wrestler that had to fit into the Divas world. And even though Impact was different in the Knockouts division than Divas, that was still kind of the talent that they had in a way for some of that. And she still had to fit into that mold, and it always doesn't work, But she went out there and she gave her all in that ring. Like,
yeah. If I would have went straight wrestlers, Gail would have been my fourth, and I would have taken Tenay off. But like I said, little different sauce to my little different ingredients in my sauce there.
Yeah, I can't get angry at that. And Donald just chimed in with his list, and Donald's list and my list are the exact same. So we both said AJ, Kurt, Jeff Jarrett, and Sting.
Just woke. Yeah, I mean,
if I'm thinking the names that really made the company, those are just like Donald. Those are the four that I'm thinking too.
I can't necessarily hate on it.
I can't argue with either of your lists either. So
I will say this honorable mention for TNA moment that sticks out to me. Booker T commentating himself in the ring. If you don't remember this, Chris, go after we get off the show. Go after we get off the show and go watch the clip.
Was that the
Booker with a right hand? Booker with a clothesline. Oh, he's down. Booker kicks him out the ring. Like was
that the Legends title?
It was the Legends title. He's at Main Event Mafia.
Yeah,
the Legends title.
Okay.
He was on commentary, got up and walked down to the ring with the microphone, and commentated himself while he was beating up people.
Was that when they were in Vegas? Was that the Vegas episode?
I want to say yes, but don't 100% quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and double check it, but yeah.
But that was the honorable mention for me as far as moment.
Long enough that I haven't watched that segment that I should go back and get the refresher on it. So
yes, tremendous. It is so entertaining, and it's Booker T. Just
at his finest.
He took King Booker, brought it to TNA, and turned it up even more.
So what made TNA the punching bag era?
I think what made TNA the punching bag era was they brought in every big name known.
Because we just put two on the list of Mount Rushmore. So I was wondering, was it that or was it Dixie's dealings in the backstage?
Well, so wait, if you're talking about the Mount Rushmore, like what names are you talking about from the Mount Rushmore? Like you're talking Kurt and
Sting.
So
to me, I don't. Kurt was there.
A good one. I wasn't even thinking the Steiner Mouth best promo. You got to give that too.
Yeah. To me, Kurt was there. Kurt was there before the shenanigans.
Okay.
Right. Like Kurt jumping to TNA legitimized TNA in a way, but they weren't legitimized before him showing up.
And Sting was there from year one.
So was it Hogan?
I think it was the Hogan, Bischoff,
okay,
Dixie, the booking,
okay,
paying an exorbitant amount of money to those guys just because she was the money mark and got sold on stuff that we could do XYZ and let's go get it, and just trying to be something that they weren't.
There were, before Hogan and Bischoff came in, they were, and this is public knowledge, that they were talking to a lot of other people to come in and take over. And the problem with it was that the Carter family did not want to get rid of Dixie's power. That was the one stipulation, that no matter who we put in control, Dixie still has the power. And everybody walked away from it because of that, except Hogan and Bischoff. I think knew that they could manipulate that instead of they got their payday. So
I will say not everything was a complete disaster with that run. You did get the Aces and Eights, the Bully Ray Brooke Hogan storyline that for what it was during that time period was done really well, and was really good television on a week-to-week basis.
You got the Flair Jay Lethal woo off in that era.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, there was a time, that early spike. Once they got on the spike, and they were on there, it was they were on Wednesdays, and then they were on Wednesdays at like 4:00. Then they jumped to Thursday night prime time. Then they moved to Monday night prime time, all within like an 18-month or 24-month period. Like, it was insane, the trajectory that they were moving at.
Yeah, because they were on what? They were on, so they got on FSN, 2004, 2005. And that was big for them. And that's what helped elevate them to Spike. And then Spike's, is exactly where that rocket ship came from.
Right. And that run on Spike, that Thursday night run on Spike for them before they, moved over to Monday night and went head to head and all that. That's whenever it started taking the nosedive for me and turned into the LOL TNA era, because it was just viewed as, we'll take anybody with a name, slap a title on them, call them our champ. Mm-hmm. They ran off a lot of talent that was the foundation for that company.
Yeah. And they did the rinse and repeat stuff of, people like to say that TNA was WWE light, and part of it is because of what they were doing, like you said, with the people they brought in. And then it's like, WWE was doing their ECW stuff. And then whenever that ended, they were just like, okay, we'll bring all the ECW talent in and we'll give that a try now. And it's just like, for what? It's like
Van Dam had a decent run there. I wouldn't say it was all shits, but yeah. So
but I'm talking more like whenever they were doing like that, they had to do their ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view. They had to do their ECW original group, just like WWE did. All that kind of stuff.
That's where you get into the LOL TNA, because it was, you're recycling through the stuff instead of being the alternative.
Yeah, I think that is the Hogan era.
That gimmick was great.
Yeah.
Rude. We're already almost an hour 20 into this. Again, Bobby Roode, somebody who just is not given the flowers that he deserves and should be more of a main event player in WWE.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say for now. Won't dive into it, but if you want to see what Bobby Roode is and what Bobby Roode can be, go back, watch that TNA era of him with the It Factor, him as champ. Look at him when he came in the NXT, when he first started the Glorious run. You take those two characters, you have a guy. And WWE has never used him as a guy. And it's been to their detriment, because now you don't have stars.
He's a dirty dog.
When AJ was champ on SmackDown, that was the perfect time to get Bobby. Not saying elevate Bobby as champ, but could have been in that title hunt and could have been a guy.
All right. Last remarks. Anything else need to be said or mentioned regarding Slammiversary this Sunday, or just TNA Impact as a whole over 20 years? Lasted longer than WCW, lasted longer than ECW, maybe last longer than AEW. We don't know.
Lasted longer than Ring of Honor.
Lasted longer than Ring of Honor. Don't see them going out anytime soon either. So the cat keeps getting more lives.
Yep.
As you say, Cat, I'm glad you said Skipper, because I was thinking it was Ernest the Cat Miller. running across the.
Jesus. All right. That's the show. This guy's unbelievable. Hit us up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us along on Twitch as well. As always, you can catch the show live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for your favorite Sunday brunch bunch. I will not be there this Saturday, but my three amigos will hold down the fort and carry the show.
Got a lot to discuss on Saturday.
Yeah, oh, I might chime in if I can, but email the show, dumbmarkspod@gmail.com, prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod. Pick up some merch. We'll give you a live shout out on air. New designs will be coming shortly. We are working on those. Anything that I dropped as far as the wrap up, Chris?
For all those links and more, visit dumbmarkspod.com.
There you go. Maybe we should start using that website and actually put content on there, write some articles, stuff like that. Just spitballing it here. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Walking down a little history road here with TNA Impact. Again, hit us up. Let us know match-wise who you got. Chime in with any of your best of or favorite TNA wrestlers from the past and current for X Division, women's, tag team, and just general. And let us know who you got on your TNA Impact Mount Rushmore. So for, about 48 hours from now, I'm a Mark, you're a Mark, tell him Mark. Catch y'all around the way.